everyone. Welcome to Shy Cat Live. This is an episode that will focus on youth arts programs at Shy Cat. So feel free to call us anytime at the number at the bottom of your screen. We love your questions. So first we're going to start out with a little description of Shy Cat, and then we'll talk with my guest for today, Patty, who was here last week, design arts instructor and lead instructor at Shy Cat. Patty!
Hello!
And then we also have Matt, who is the Maker Lab instructor at Shy Cat.
Woo!
Yay, Matt! And then we're going to talk about some of our spring classes that we have coming up. So, first of all, we have an orientation that is coming up on February 6th from 5:30 to 7:30 and February 9th from 11 to 12:30. These are for the youth arts classes. We will be showing this again at the end of the show, and you can also find information about us on Facebook and our website at shycat.org. So, first, a little about us. We are a nonprofit. Here is our mission, which will say succinctly what we are about. Our mission is, at Shy Cat, we elevate our talents, culture, and community through transformative art studios, sector-driven training, and advanced technology. We are located at 1701 West 13th Street. We're near the Pink Line, bus lines. If you'd like any more information, call us or check us out at our website, shycat.org. And we're located near Roosevelt and Ashland. So, Patty.
BJ.
Tell us about the Design Studio.
The Design Studio is one of our 3 labs that we have students come into to participate in our after-school programming. It's the largest of the 3. It has the best view in the building, so you'll have to come to orientation and get a tour and check it out. We focus more on traditional arts. We have drawing, painting, comic book creation, silkscreen, fashion design and textile work, fiber arts in general. It's a really, really great space. If you check it out right now, we have an example from our first ever middle school costume class. A student is learning how to drape fabric. She's creating a cape. And on the left you can see one of our studio assistants, Ari, helping out and creating a stitched pattern that will then be sewn into place to have more permanence. We have students who learned how to sew and also sculpt and create foam work, small sculptural elements in this costuming class, and what you saw just there was a student who was working on a larger piece, totally wearable, custom made to their size. They learned how to actually make patterns, take their own measurements, make custom patterns based on those measurements. And this student created a two-tone vest with long coattails. It was really, really cool, and it went with every project that she made for the rest of the session. She made this foam, three-dimensional, fitted to her face, again, everything custom made to the student, like a scary rabbit mask. It was so great. It looked like, it was inspired by the white hair in Alice in Wonderland.
That sounds incredible.
Very creative student.
And this session will be focusing a little more on the fabric element of it. We had a lot of interest, especially from high school students, and so we'll be doing a fashion design course.
We'll talk about that
Which
a little
later. Another example of some of our students' costumes. This was from last summer. This was high school costume design, and you can see what I was talking about, that 3D custom-made foam craft in the form of 2 different sets of armor. These characters were made by groups of students in the class who created their own characters, created their own costumes, their own backstories and everything, and then created these 2 characters to kind of see if they could compete against each other. One was more fantasy-based and one was more technology-based. And it was a really great way for the kids to think about practical application of costuming and design.
What kinds of equipment do you have up in the design lab?
We have all kinds of equipment. We have a great selection of pens, pencils. We've got Tombos and Prismacolors. We've got colored pencils and markers. Everything really, really wonderful. We've got different types of cardstock and paperweights. We've got comic book paper. We have laptops for every student. We have drawing tablets, Wacom tablets for every student. We have 2 4-color silkscreen presses.
What's that black thing that you said about?
What's the black things in the design studio?
The big black thing that heats stuff up is an infrared curing device. We also have in a separate room, we've created like a little dark room out of a storage area. We have a UV exposure table, and that's a fun little lesson that we can kind of give to kids. Although we're technically the lowest tech of the labs, there are always opportunities to think of different subject matter. So when I said infrared curing device and ultraviolet exposure table, those are opposite ends of our visual light spectrum. And I love to tell kids that because guess what? That's an optics lesson, that's a physics lesson. When we're doing portraiture or character design, we learn human anatomy, we learn biology. There are opportunities to bring the science, mathematics, and arts together, and that's one of the wonderful things about ShyCat because we're the Center for Arts and Technology.
You know, Patty, as our lead instructor, why don't you tell our viewing public a little bit about who the ages that we serve, and
Sure.
That's pretty much it. And what the daytime and after school programming.
Sure. So we serve middle school and high school students. So middle school would be 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. That's one set of classes. Those students will be taught together. And then high school, 13 through, I'm sorry,
High school, you got it.
9
you
through
got
12. 9 through 12 grade is another set of students working together. We have classes for both of those sections. We tailor them according to the student's skill level. Not to say that students have to have a portfolio reviewed or application process. Everybody is welcome to ShyCat. That is what we are here for. We are a community resource, and we really strive to make sure that our labs, whether you're a person who comes in not knowing how to draw, or a person who's never held a camera in their life, or a person who has no idea about 3D printing, we want to make sure this is all acceptable and accessible to the students who come to us.
So we have after-school programs that are starting
Yes.
soon, which we're going to tell you about. We also have daytime program. Do you want to talk a little more about that?
Sure. Daytime programming is something that we've initiated as of last year. Local schools can reach out to us and coordinate a date where they can actually bring up to 32 students, or I'm not sure about the number, but they can bring
that.
they can bring
Students.
they can bring students. They can bring a selection of their students to sort of a field trip to come to our space, use our facilities, and get a lesson from one of the 3 of us, or possibly
Assistants.
multiples. Yes. It's a great opportunity for students who aren't able to engage in our after-school programs or who would like to experience it but aren't sure because they just haven't heard enough about us. So we've had teachers and parent coordinators, principals, vice principals, counselors reach out to us. We love to form these connections in the community. It's very, very important to us that we are present and able to engage with students all over, and that includes the faculty in their lives, their parents, families. We really want to make sure that everyone is able to enjoy our facilities, our materials, and our lessons. And so daytime programming was another opportunity for us to engage in our community.
Wonderful. So parents, teachers, anyone listening out there who's interested in coming to our school for, some 3D printing or some other technology that you may not have the opportunity to use otherwise, parents, teachers, give us a call.
Anything creative, really. Anything creative, anything that'll get students out of the norm and into a space where they can practice some skills they may not necessarily use every day. We can supplement that.
And that's a nice segue to your studio, Matt. Do you want to give us so Matt is the lead instructor to the Maker Lab. So let's hear about it, Matt.
The Maker Lab, it's really a window into the future, right? So we have 3D printers, we have CNC machines, we have 3D scanners, we have virtual reality headsets. We have really a lot of technology that's really pulled from sci-fi movies. So what do students do in there? Students come in with ideas about maybe action heroes or 3D cars that they want to design, or all these crazy ideas that students might have from movies or video games or just their own imagination. They can come in there, design it, and get it printed or cut out on the CNC machine.
And what are we looking at right here?
This is a lineup of all of our 3D printers. So we have 10 3D printers in the space with 2 CNC machines and a laser cutter, as well as 8 virtual reality headsets. Our 2 3D printers are the Maker Gear M2 and the Lowesbot Taz 6. One has a wider printing base, one is a smaller one moves faster, one holds better temperature. That's all nerdy stuff you'll learn later in the class.
We are nerds.
Yeah, you gotta be nerdy, but you gotta be at peace with that creativity, channel it, and get it out into your projects. So that's what it's really about here. So
what about this image? What's going on here?
this is our Oculus Go virtual reality headset. It's a standalone headset, so you don't have to plug your cell phone into it, and you don't have to have it hooked up to a computer at all. It has data as well as its onboard video card, etc., inside, and you can really experience your own 3D projects that you make, 360 photos, all that can be viewed on there. And people just really have a fun time. I'd say that that's one of the most popular things in the studio. Everyone wants to put that on and get lost like they're in the middle of Tron or something like that. So
That's exactly what it feels like too. The first time that I tried it, I hadn't done virtual reality until Matt says like, "Hey BJ, why don't you try this Oculus Go?" Our studios are right next to each other. I was like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." And I put it on, and I started like swirling around, and I just couldn't believe it. It's so much fun. And in one of your classes, you're going to be doing virtual reality, right? But
yes.
we are about to talk about that.
We'll get into the classes later.
All right. I think we have one more image. Oh, so here are some 3D prints.
Yeah, some prints that have been made in the studio. So this group of prints I have out on display to show people kind of the wide array of printing that students can get into. Some of it can be more whimsical, abstract shapes. Some of it can be more based on the actual human anatomy. Some of it can be based on video game characters like that skeleton up there. And then really, I encourage people to come in with ideas, but then be flexible to kind of build off of it to see what else can happen. What happens when you go down that rabbit hole of creativity, and then you 3D print it, really. That's about it.
Rock on.
Yeah.
All right, and again, please call if you have any questions. Right now, this is Shy-Cat Live on CAN TV, Channel 21. We're also streaming over the internet right now, too. So give us a call, 312-738-1060 at CAN TV, and ask us a question. We'd really like to hear from you. All right. So now, me. I almost forgot to talk about my studio. Okay, so my studio I'm the digital arts instructor. We do music, music recording, video, photography, graphic design, web design. We have a room full of loaded Macs with the Adobe Creative Suite. Here's some kids from, I think, a couple terms ago working on some music on our software using some really gorgeous condenser mics. Let's see, what else we got here? Oh yeah, and this is our little photography studio area. We have professional lighting. We use DSLR cameras. We really are not wanting for technology and equipment. Let's see, what else do we got? And here's the cameras that we use. Doesn't matter how young you are, if you're a 6th grader, if you're 11 years old, which I believe this student was when he was holding that camera, we will teach you how to use the state-of-the-art professional equipment. Let's see.
And on that note, it actually really is great that our mission fits that age range. It's never too early or too late to get into expressing yourself artistically, and we really do a great job of getting people in there and learning about it. So that's a very rewarding part of being able to work in the studios.
I agree.
Another thing that is really great about it, and going off of your statement of we're not in want of equipment, we really do use professional grade equipment. We use industry standard software. All of these skills that students are learning at Shy-Cat are applicable to future classes, to high school, to college, and to careers, and to building portfolios, and to really getting some great experience through our programs, and it's another really gratifying thing about working at Shy-Cat.
And another aspect of it is that one of our principles is that we believe design thinking can solve a lot of the world problems. Not just so when you're learning design and you're learning arts, you're problem solving, and especially when you're working with technology at the same time. So the skills, so you don't have to feel like, oh, I want to be a graphic designer, or I want to be a video artist to come and take classes at ShyCat. They benefit everyone, regardless of what your goals are. So on that note, let's start talking about our spring classes. So here is a list of our classes. They begin February 18th. So that's coming up soon. Our orientation is coming up soon. But Patty, would you like to talk a little bit about comics and manga and fashion design?
Sure. So comics and manga is going to be in the design studio. It is for middle school, as you guys can see there. It is going to focus on having kids create their own comic books or manga, whatever style they prefer, based on themselves, their families, their cultural identity, whatever they feel they want to express. They're at a really crucial developmental time in their lives where it's really important for kids to see themselves as heroic, to see their histories and their culture and their families celebrated. And so that's something that we really focus on as far as inspiration for their characters. They're going to learn how to draw figures, how to incorporate elements of visual storytelling. They're going to learn how to create these characters with full, rich backstories based on their own experience, and they're going to then create those visual stories. They're going to learn how to write scripts, how to compose sort of scenes like storyboarding initially, and then going on into making them visually dynamic comic books. And they're going to learn how to do some of these aspects initially by hand, but they're also going to learn how to digitally create these comics.
Awesome.
So comics and manga is for middle schoolers on Mondays and Wednesdays from 4:30 to 6:30. And once again, these classes start February 18th. So what about the fashion design class?
Sure. Fashion design is for high schoolers, as you can see there. This I kind of touched on a little bit earlier. It is a fiber arts class, textiles, drapery, fashion, sewing, and students are going to learn how to create their own patterns, how to interpret 2D plans into a 3D form. They're going to look at examples from different cultures and different time periods, and we're going to incorporate those into making our own wearable art. We have students who are interested in fashion, we have students who are interested in the practicalities of sewing, we have students who are interested in being cosplayers and going to conventions, and that's a skill that every great cosplayer knows how to sew. So that is something that we have at ShyCat have offered to students. We've had a lot of interest in it, and it's going to be a great way for students to express themselves. And guaranteed, if they wear one of their outfits or their garments, they're going to get people turning heads and making compliments and trying to find out where they got those, cool shirt or cool pants or
Very usable
awesome
skill.
dress. Yeah.
And I can't wait till Patty teaches this class, because we always, I take my students up to take photos in her class. I love seeing the work that comes out of Patty's
We're looking
studio.
forward to having a little bit of a fashion photography element to it as well.
Yeah,
in our last
absolutely,
week.
absolutely.
It's going to be super cool.
And in case you want more information about us, this is our website, shycat.org. If you want to find out about these classes that we're talking about, go to programs, current programs, youth programs, and then from here you can see the different studios. So Patty was talking about her comic creation class and her fashion and textile design classes, and now we're going to talk, thank you Patty, about Matt's classes in the 3D Maker Lab.
Yeah.
So Matt, what do you got going on?
So for 6th through 8th grade, we have Becoming a Maker. That's really the class where people are going to get a foundation to become makers. What is a maker? It's someone who's proficient using 3D software as well as CNC software. This class is really going to be aimed at getting people to take those ideas from things that they've seen or used in a variety of contexts and be able to make that on their own and then get it 3D printed. So we'll start off with some rocket ship design. Basically, everyone's seen like Star Wars or Star Trek or Guardians of the Galaxy or any type of movie that has a spaceship or a speeder or rocket, motorcycle, whatever. We're going to start off designing that, and students will become their own 3D maker companies. They'll take on these personas, and I will be a client giving them client jobs to do, and each client job will have a fundamental for 3D printing or CNC attached to it. So
That sounds super
it's-
fun. I love CNC machines.
Can we take your classes?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I mean, I want to expand it because I get a lot of questions about that. Everyone wants to make something cool in there. So, hey, I mean, I'm always open to that cross collaboration between the different studios. So,
We do that a lot. We inform of each other what we're working on. Our students interact. A couple of
Yeah.
Patty's students acted in a little short film we did in the last term. That
Your
was
photo
real.
kids come up into my lab, and we always talk about how some of the more analog skills developed, or that students can develop in my lab, are translated digitally, and how these digital skills can be replicated analog.
true.
Absolutely. And let's
Oh,
talk
and
about
that
your.
was-
So Matt still has one more class. I'm going to give you a little view of our upcoming schedule once again. So here we go. So Matt is in the bottom line there, becoming a maker, which he just told us about, and now what's making digital into reality, which is for high schoolers,
The
right?
high school course, yes, correct. Making digital into reality is going to give people their start in making 3D and virtual reality art assets. Basically, that means they're going to have ideas, they're going to learn how to make it digitally, and then they'll have an option of taking it to be used on a virtual reality headset or 3D printing it. And yeah,
Okay, I love the VR headset. I love the VR headset.
I mean, that's the reaction I want from anyone stepping into the space, though, right? That's what we aim for as an entity of ShyCat, is getting people excited about it. So that's great. I really just want people to take that class. If they're trying to make apps, if they're trying to get into making movies, if they want to learn how to 3D model things and then UV unwrap it, package it for use in the video game engine, like that's all going to be stuff that we could get into.
And you'll learn what all those words mean.
Well, and
you
look,
will.
Matt brought in, we have an example of some of the work. I'm going to try and use this overhead camera here. Okay, that's how about this one? There we go. So here we have some 3D prints. Matt, did you not just print the Maker Lab 3D print this guy today?
That's hot off the press as of like 40 minutes ago or something. It's very new. But I was just test printing a Maker Lab sign. Some of these are more abstract, and then some of these are more just kind of playing with words, layering different visual styles. So we have Albert Einstein in the robin's egg blue.
This guy.
We
It's kind of
have
hard to see.
a
But.
skull head golem right here in the gray, and then we have a dark blue Maker Lab sign.
Do you know the story behind this guy?
Nope.
This is actually a 3D scan. A student brought in a ceremonial death whistle. And it's very delicate, but they brought it in, and we were able to scan it in our Maker Lab and recreate this version that can then be handled, as opposed to the old version, which, not so much.
Yeah.
And 3D printing, as we were saying, we may have some times when adults can participate in 3D printing or some of our other art-related activities. Right now, though, the studios are programmed for youth, so we have, after-school programs and our daytime programming. But keep on us about 3D printing as an adult. All right, we're getting close to our wrapping up. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what's coming up in my classes for the spring. So I will be teaching poetry in motion for middle schoolers and making the news for high schoolers. That's the middle line there. And what those classes will be, the poetry in motion is going to be really a really sweet class. The students will be writing poetry and then making videos out of those poetry. So they'll be using motion graphics. They'll learn how to make motion graphics with the text of the poetry. They'll learn how to shoot video as a true art form, to really make interesting and sometimes abstract renderings of these poems that they're going to write. So I'm very excited for that class. And then Making the News is a photojournalism class for high schoolers. Photojournalism, video journalism, all professional equipment is going to rock. So lastly, I don't think we have much more to talk about here. So remember to give us a call. Remember to come to our orientation on February 6th or February 9th. And again, you can find this information on our website at shycat.org. So thank you very much, and
Stay warm.
Yeah, stay warm out there, everybody.
It's hot out there.
Yeah, Matt is always a contrarian. But thank you, Can TV, and find us on the web, shycat.org. See you next time.